Hey there, today we're going to be talking about why you need to prioritize travel in 2019. Number one, experiences over things. We live in a day of instant gratification. Literally, with the click of a button, we can get something from Amazon the very next day. Or say you buy a pair of shoes, you're super stoked on them, they're in style. Well, that shoe trend will go out of style pretty quickly. And what that means is that'll leave you wanting the next newest, coolest thing. And that's what companies want, because they want us to keep buying. Experiences like travel, on the other hand, leave us with long-lasting memories, joy, gratitude, and feelings of fulfillment. So pick experiences over things this year. You will not regret it. All right, number two is self-discovery. When we are caught up in our day-to-day hustle and bustle, it's hard to really get perspective on our life. It's hard to, take that step back, see where we need to grow, where we need to shift, adjust, and tweak so that we can live our happiest, healthiest life, so that we can be the best version of ourselves. Taking a trip allows you to get that much needed space from your day-to-day living to reset, rejuvenate, and if you're smart about it and you bring a journal, you bring books that you've been wanting to read, and really allow yourself to take that time to reflect and to take note of what you want to do when you get back, where you can change, and where you can allow more space in your life for the highest version of yourself to come through. Number three is gaining perspective. If you ever watch the news, you will come to view the world as a terrifying place. I mean, every time I watch the news, I'm seriously depressed the entire day after. So what traveling really allows you to see is how not scary the world is, how good people inherently are, and how they will want to help you if you're lost and looking for directions, or just wanting to stop and chat and maybe try and speak the language a little bit, even if you don't know it. For the most part, people are kind, and traveling really allows you to see that. Another perspective that it tends to give you, especially if you live in a first world country like I do in the US, is that you realize how easy you have it. You also realize how much you don't need all of those material things that you oftentimes think that you do. Some of the happiest people I've ever seen in my life were in third world countries, because that's where actually community and connection is able to thrive, because you're not so inundated with all of that technology and all of that materialism. So traveling really allows you to gain that wider perspective of other humans, of that connection, of what you truly need in life, and just how good you probably have it. Number four is connecting with nature. Now, if you haven't done a lot of traveling, if you live in a big city, you haven't experienced a lot of the beauty, the miraculous beauty that nature has to offer, you may not feel as motivated to, help the world, to stop using plastic, to clean up the oceans, to, take part in this bigger movement of consciousness and saving our planet, because we really do have to make big changes now. But what traveling allows you to do, especially if you take a hiking trip, or even just going into the mountains and staying in a cabin, or going to a tropical island and enjoying the clear blue water and that beautiful white sand. What that allows you to have is an appreciation for Mother Nature. And it helps you to realize that if we don't do something now, that beauty will not be there for our children and our grandchildren to also enjoy, which is heartbreaking. So connecting with nature is one of my favorite reasons to travel, and every time I do feel that sense of grounding and that sense of urgency to play a bigger role in helping save our planet. Number 5 is avoiding burnout. Now, raise your hand if you ever feel burnt out. Actually, that's something I've been currently going through a lot lately, and I think it is because I haven't been traveling for a while. But, you know, in this society where we are constantly, you know, hustling is super cool and never taking days off and go, 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 go between work and social engagements and just dealing with normal stresses of life, we are bound to eventually get burnt out, right? So what traveling can do is give you that much needed break to reset, to restore, to rejuvenate, and to get back to you. Number 6, flights are cheap. So I've been doing a lot of research lately, you know, just figuring out how I can lessen my travel expenses. And let me tell you, you can get flights for so cheap if you just know the right little tips and tricks. So a few things that I like to do, I always like to search for my flights on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, mostly Tuesdays. You know, I've heard different things about how this isn't a thing anymore, but from my experience, Tuesdays the flights are always cheaper. It's crazy. So that's one trick. The second trick I like to do is I like to look at multiple different search engines, specifically Momondo, Skyscanner, and Google Flights. Those are my 3 favorite right now. I also like Cheapo Air a lot too. And then the third thing that I like to do is make sure to look about 6 to 8 weeks out. That's typically when the flights are the cheapest. And the cool thing about these different travel search engines is that most of them these days have, you know, trackers, so they'll notify you when the price goes up or down, so it helps you to track. And lastly, the Hopper app is really awesome. If you download that, you can track your flight. They actually show you ahead of time when the flight should be the cheapest and when it should be more expensive. So flights are so cheap right now, there is no excuse to not find a good flight and get on it and get to your destination. And last but not least, group travel is in. I've been leading yoga retreats for the past few years, and group travel is one of my favorite ways to do it. Especially if you are wanting to take a trip and, you know, there's no one to go with you, no one that you know or want to go with can afford it right now, or they're just not willing to make it a priority, you can still travel. You can also travel alone, but if that's a little scary and intimidating, find a group to go with. You know, no matter what your hobby or your interest is, I guarantee you there is most likely a trip for you, from hiking to cycling to yoga. They even have like party trips that you can go on. But not having someone to travel with is not an excuse these days, because group travel is the way to do it. And what's really cool is whoever's coordinating the trip typically plans everything for you. So all you have to do is pay your money, go, relax, enjoy, and have an amazing time. If you are looking for a group trip to take this year, I am leading a yoga retreat in Bali in March. So I will link that below, and maybe I will see you there. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. I really encourage you to prioritize travel this year. Stop putting off that trip of your dreams and make shit happen. All right, the moment you begin to travel, you will discover parts of yourself that you did not even know existed, or you might rediscover parts of yourself that you lost along the way of all that stress that life throws at us. Before you go, please click subscribe and comment below if you have any questions or any other ideas of why travel should be a priority this year. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.